Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today, from DC Multiverse line of action figures produced by McFarlane Toys, we have Batman of Earth-11, as seen in the storyline Dark Knight's Metal. Okay, to be honest, Dark Knight's Metal was a storyline I wasn't very fond of. I read, some of the first 3 or 4 issues, and it just kind of lost me. That's not to say it was a bad thing, but I kind of felt like it was written more so upon just big moments as opposed to having like a very solid storyline going across. There were too many characters, and I just got confused and lost. And even though the artwork was beautiful, I just couldn't stay on board. So my knowledge of Batman of Earth-11, The Drowned, it's very limited. So let's get started. First off, the figure, beautifully framed in the packaging. As you can see, in addition to the figure, you are getting a trading card, a display stand, and also a trident behind the figure. Wonderful illustration of the character. I believe this might be the artwork of artist Jason Fabok. I think. I might be wrong on that, though. So this is from Dark Knight's Metal, published in 2017. Some other action figures that were available during this time. There's the McFarlane designed Batman. There's Batman Earth-22, who is the Batman who laughs with the Joker Robins. There's, I think, Infected Superman, Deathstroke, awesome figure, and Arkham Knight Batman, also great figure. In my opinion, I think these are probably in my top 10 McFarlane figures. I think the sculpting on these two figures, the Deathstroke and the Arkham Knight Batman, are amazing. They are awesome. So let's get started and review Batman Earth-11, also known, I think, as The Drowned. Okay, so first impressions of the figure while she's still in the tray. Wonderfully sculpted details. So this was a figure I felt really bad about because I remember seeing this figure multiple times at different Targets in my area. It's what they call a peg warmer. It would just sit there. And over time, it just kept on accumulating and accumulating. And sometimes this is all you'd see would just be the Drowned. And I felt bad because it's well done. The sculpting is, beautifully executed. It's really detailed. But I just think because of the unfamiliarity of the character to, some fans, they're not going to want to buy it, even though it's a great looking figure. For me, I was familiar with the character, but I wasn't committed to it just because I wasn't a big fan of the death metal storyline to begin with. Most of the times when you see McFarlane figures at the stores, it's always the Batmans and the Supermans and the Jokers that get gobbled up. Sometimes it's some of the lesser known figures that kind of stick around for a while, or they don't generate as much interest. And I felt that was the case with this one right here. If you go onto Amazon, I believe, this is a figure you might be able to find on sale. So after, seeing this video, if this is something you want to get, she's a little bit more affordable now than when she was first released. Alright, one thing that kind of surprised me as I took the figure out of the tray is that this staff here feels like it's made of a slightly harder material than some of the accessories and weapons we've gotten recently. This plastic feels a little bit more rigid than some of the other ones. Like some of the swords I've gotten in some of the other McFarlane figures, it's a little bit more flimsier, but this one actually feels like if you try it hard enough, it feels like you could maybe snap it in half. So, just a word of caution as you handle it. It's nice though because I do prefer the slightly harder plastics because, especially like the longer ones like swords, it's not gonna like this, flop around or like kind of like, if exposed to extreme temperatures for long periods of time, they kind of like droop over and look flaccid. But this one's gonna be nice, rigid, and erect for its life, its entire life, which I think is cool. Beautiful sculpt on it. If you don't want to use this on her, and if you have like an Aquaman figure or like a Mera action figure, you can easily just swap this onto them because I think it fit perfectly like in the Aquaman universe of the DC realm. As for the figure herself, she stands in at about, let's get her in a neutral pose first. Her arm doesn't want to fall down. Oh, there you go. If I had to guess, I'm guessing at least 7 inches. Yeah, she's pretty much 7 inches. A slightly shorter figure compared to some of the other ones in the line. The sculpting is really, really well done. As you can see, nice. Man, she's very creepy looking too. You capture her under the right light. It kind of reveals all the scars and wrinkles on her face. She kind of has a very like pessimistic expression, especially with the way how her lips are kind of posed. She kind of has the red monocle over one eye with the red lens. She has the brown leather cowl with the Batman horns. Beautifully sculpted hair. The hair kind of has like almost like a green filter to it, so it's not solid black. Her jacket kind of takes on the appearance of looking like coral or like a very distressed leather. She's wearing a necklace with a Batman emblem on it. A beautiful micro texture on her corset and halter top. Her skirt's kind of beat up and almost takes on the appearance of looking like seaweed, which would make sense. Kind of has those buccaneer gloves, as you can see right there with the fins towards the back. Knee-high boots, again with a very rough, almost coral-like texture on it. Appears she has a holster right here, and as you can see, her leg just fell off. It didn't look like it didn't break off, but it looks like it just got untabbed at the hinges right there. And if you're curious, this is what the internal construction of the legs look like. So hopefully it'll just pop back in. Hopefully. And it's not wanting to snap into place, which is unfortunate. Alright, there you go. This is a figure that as I'm handling it, it feels like the articulation is going to be kind of limited. It feels like it wants to fight me every time I move it. I think it has to do with, like the skirt piece being here. It's like it kind of hinders the leg movement going up. And this leg keeps on popping off, which sucks. It's not broken, but it's just not, the clench power here, it's not as tight as it should be. And it's not wanting to hold into place all that well. Alright, so it's a beautifully sculpted figure. We'll take a look at the articulation in a second. I just want to see how she looks with her trident. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that this figure didn't get more attention than it should have. I saw it just sitting on the shelves at multiple stores. Because I do think it's well done, but I think just due to the unfamiliarity of the character with, a lot of people, a lot of people just want, they just want a Batman or a really nice Superman figure. This is a character that's kind of outside of their, encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to, the DC roster. It's nice though that they made the figure because it kind of shows McFarlane's honoring, you know, the much more relevant and current storylines. But at the same time, I think when it comes to toy collectors, a lot of collectors, you know, a lot of stuff they purchase is based off of more sentimentality and nostalgia. At least that's what I always kind of felt like. But I don't know, I think sculpting wise, she's a really standout character. Very unique look. I do like the hair a lot, but there's a part of me that kind of wishes is in a much more neutral pose as opposed to looks like it's flowing. Especially since her skirt is kind of very neutral. You know, it's just flowing downward. It's not flowing out to the left like her hair is. But yeah, the sculpting I think is top notch. You know, this is just as good a sculpt as any McFarlane figure you'll find. But, you know, I think just due to the fact that a lot of people don't know who this character is, you know, it's going to go unappreciated. Articulation, her head rotates. Does she look down? She doesn't look down all that much, nor does she look up. Arms rotate. They go out. There's a cut right there for bicep swivel. Double pinned elbows, as you can see right here. Wrist articulation, very standard for McFarlane figures. And it has that exposed ball joint, which I'm not very fond of. I think it breaks up the look, and it looks, I don't know, doesn't look right. I don't think she crunches forward. She doesn't really arch back. She has a waist swivel. I can feel it underneath here. Legs kick up. They kick out. Double pinned knees, so that's there's her knee articulation. Ankles, I don't like that exposed ball joint. It's kind of horrendous looking. And toe articulation. So overall, I think this is it's a solid figure. You know, if you're a big fan of the metal stories in the DC universe from like a couple years ago, I think this figure's, you know, warrants a purchase. It's a very unique take on, you know, this characters in general. You know, it's really well done. I mean, I can't state that enough. Like as I'm handling it, every time I look at it, I just keep on seeing all these different details I didn't notice before. And like I said, this figure, I bought it on sale on Amazon. It's cheaper than buying it at full retail. So if you're curious about it, I think it's at least worth the purchase. You know, I think it's always nice to have unique characters that you might not necessarily think of when you think of like the DC stuff. You know, generally, like I think a lot of people when they think of like DC superheroes, they always think of immediately you think of the Holy Trinity. You know, you think of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And then, you know, next up are some of like the next heavy hitters like Green Lantern and Aquaman and the Flash. You know, villain wise, you always think of like Luthor, the Joker. But, you know, this is a great secondary character to have, especially on your shelf. You know, if you want something a little bit more unique looking and something eye-catching and something, you know, some people will be like, oh, who's that? You know, this is definitely a really well-done piece. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.